Now we are going to create another product mockup, but this one is going to be a little more different because it's a little more advanced, but gives us a lot more functionality. If you haven't already downloaded the book cover design product mockup from the previous lesson, go ahead and open up the Creative Cloud application, click on the search icon, and then select Book Mockup. And the first result that we get, the hardcover book mockup, is the one that we want. So we can click on that. We can see that it's 56 megabytes. It's a PSD file, so we can edit it, and that's what we want. And go ahead and click the download button. I've already downloaded this because it will take a little bit of time to download, and I don't want to hold you up, but you'll see it download and sync. When it syncs, it means it's actually syncing to Photoshop, so you can pull it up within Photoshop automatically. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. And on the welcome screen of Photoshop, I'm going to click on Libraries and click My Library, and you will see those files open up on the right hand side. So here it is, hardcover book mockup. I'm going to right click on that and select Edit, and when I do, it's going to open that file for me. And these are the book cover designs that we're going to be using, and it's really simple, it's really intuitive, and it works really, really well. So as you can see on the right hand side, we actually have a libraries tab with our different assets that we downloaded, and we can always click and drag these into the project here if we want to use any images or templates that we've downloaded. But let's go ahead and just move this up so you can see these layers a little easier. Here we have three different layers. Our background layer, if I turn that off, you can see it's just that gray background. We have the back book cover, and then we have the front book cover. Now I only want to just use the one book cover for now, so I can hide this one, and I can select the top book cover. I'm going to select my move tool, and I'm going to drag that in the center. So that looks great as is. All we have to do is change out the image, and with smart objects it's really easy, and I think you're going to like this a lot. So go back to the layers, click on the arrow next to the folder, and it will drop down the layers, and we can go through these real fast. Let me slide this over so you can read this here. Okay. The first layer we have is our shadows. So when I turn that off, you can see that's the shadows of the book. And when I move that, you saw the shadows followed along because they're all in that group together. Then we have the actual book. When I turn this off, it looks a little weird, but you can see that it's the actual book itself. Then above that, it says Chance Color here. This is actually the coloring of the book, the front and the back. If we were to change the color of this book, say to like a black book, we would want to change this layer, actually edit it to black also, because it's actually coloring the book for us. And you can see it's actually coloring it a little gray, not perfectly white. But if we change the color of the book, blue, black, red, or anything else, we would want to change the color of this layer too. We're not going to worry about that right now. The layer above that, it says Your Design Here. Double click the layer Thumbnail, and this is where it's actually pulling the image from. This is our smart object layer. Before we do that, let's look at the top layer, and this is just some effects that are being applied, such as some embossing to make the book look really nice. It looks like it's looks funny here because I'm at 33%. I'm going to zoom in real fast. I'm going to click View, Zoom in. That takes me to 50%, so it looks a lot better, a lot cleaner this way. All right, now we're not seeing all those jaggedy lines. All right, so now we want to go to the layer that says Your Design Here. Double click the layer Thumbnail. If you look at the layer Thumbnail, it looks like a transparent layer, but then there's a tiny little image in the bottom right here. It's really hard to see, but if I double click that, it actually opens up a new document of the image of the book. And you can see we have an error here, some missing fonts. I'm going to be creating my own image, so I don't really care about the fonts. Now, if you just wanted to use their template and change out the words, you would need the fonts, or you would have to use a different font. But for the time being, I'm going to click Don't Resolve. I don't care about the fonts. I'm not even going to use this. As a matter of fact, I could delete these layers if I wanted to, or for now, I'm just going to hide them. I'm going to create a new layer at the top, and I'm just going to draw on this just so you can see what's going on here. So I'm going to select paintbrush. Let's just make it big. And I'm just going to draw something here. Now I've hidden all those layers, created a new layer and drew on this, and I'm going to save this. So I can hit Control S or click Save under File. It saves this file, and when it does, it automatically updates the book for us and applies all the effects, all the shading, the embossing, all those things automatically, and looks great. So all we have to do is go into the Smart layer, design our book cover, save it, and it will automatically apply the texturing, the embossing, the perspective, and everything we need. That is the power of using these mock-up templates, because you can download, tons of these online and have the ability to easily input your own images and instantly have some great looking products to sell online. So let's go back to this layer. And actually what I want to do is I'm going to bring in an image of a book cover that I designed earlier, just so we can see how that looks. So I'm going to click on this layer 1 and hit delete. We don't need it anymore. Then I'm going to go to File, Open, and in the Resources section, we are going to see Image Book Cover. And this is just a quick, easy book cover image that I created just for this little tutorial here. So I'm going to hit Open, and it's going to drop this as a new image with the typical background, and I want to drag that into that psd1.psb file. That PSB file is our smart object file. So I'm going to go to my image book cover.jpg, click and hold. So we're dragging it. I'm going to not go to the book cover mockup PSD, but the psd1.psp, and I'm going to come in here and drop this in. And as you can see, that this image is a lot bigger than our template. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to hit Control minus to zoom out here. Make sure that layer is selected. I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale. And I'm going to hold this down. And if I hold Shift, it will actually lock the constraints for me here. So it makes sure it keeps it in the right aspect ratio and doesn't get all distorted or stretched. So I'm holding Shift to lock that. Let me move it into place a little bit better. Actually, let's go ahead and apply that, move it, and then we will scale it again to get it right where we need it. And I may have created this. Yeah, this is a different size book cover than what I actually have here. So sometimes this will happen depending on what you're producing for. So Amazon Kindle might be one size, and then a physical book might be another size. Different platforms, different mediums are going to have different size book covers. That's something that you definitely need to be aware of, and knowing what size you're designing for. So if you're designing, Kindle ebooks, you need to go into the Kindle platform and look at their resolution specs to make sure you're designing for the right size. As you can see, I was designing for one size here, and this book cover design is actually a little different. That's okay though. I just kind of scaled it. I cropped off the top. Luckily there was nothing up there, so I don't really care about cropping off that top there. I still got my information and words down here at the bottom. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to zoom in. Looks like I didn't crop it all the way. Let me do that one more time. Let's make sure it's filled out here. Okay, all of our edges are filled. That looks really good. So just a simple book cover design that I created. Now I'm going to save it. Go to File, Save. And when we come over here, you can see our image has been applied. You can also see some of those effects being applied, such as the texturing that is going on within that layer. And this looks great. It looks like it's an actual paperback book. One thing we might want to adjust is you can see that, as I talked about earlier, the back of that book is white, and we might want to change the coloring around a little bit to match this. In this particular file, we would click on this little camera icon here, double click it. It gives us a color option. I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to select. If I pick a color, let me show you real fast. If I pick blue, you can see it changing all around the book. So it's actually affecting the whole book and the inside cover. So I'm just going to pick some colors that kind of match that design that I had going on, which was that light yellow sky there. So I'm going to hit OK. And as you can see, it colored that all the way around. So that looks a lot better. That looks like it's all one image and it's all flowing together really nicely. So that is how we use a book cover product mockup templates, any type of product mockup template actually, but this is a very easy way. Whenever you get the chance to use smart objects, I definitely recommend it because they look really good and you can manipulate them so easily. Like I said, you can go back into that file and you can create from scratch. You can start new, you can bring in an image you already had just like I did, and once you save it, it's automatically updated here. So that is how you easily create a product mockup from a template.